Ready? Okay, good morning. My name is Amanda Rivera. I'm the hearing examiner presiding over today's case. The date is May 29th, 2025. This is case DCI 2024-00024. It's a rezoning request to the CPD zoning district and the Page Park planning community. Because this is a quasi-judicial hearing, all evidence and testimony must be taken under oath. So if you intend to speak, if you could please raise your hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you'll provide is the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Do we have members of the public here today? Or is everyone with the project team?
Everyone is with the applicant.
Okay, thank you. Then we will dispense with those instructions. Did staff have the affidavit of publication to provide? Thank you. Thank you. So I will review this and let's check and see. Yes, okay, so the staff exhibit number 1 is the staff report, and then staff exhibit number 2 will be the notice of publication. And I did receive a 48-hour letter on this case, so that is applicant exhibit A. And with that, we can begin whenever the applicant's ready. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Hearing Examiner. For the record, my name is Megan Strayhorn. I am legal counsel for the applicant. We do have a couple of exhibits. Do you have a hard copy of the 48-hour letter?
I do.
With you? Okay. In addition to that, I also have the applicant's PowerPoint presentation and the master concept plan.
Okay, thank you. And these reflect exactly what was in the staff report for the master concept plan?
Yes, ma'am. And I'll also drop off this list of applicant representatives.
Thank you. So the applicant PowerPoint will be applicant exhibit 1. Okay, thank you.
Excellent. So in summary, there was staff recommended approval on this project. In staff's report, we are in agreement with most of the staff report with the exception of the one item that was enumerated in the 48-hour letter. And so just briefly, I would like to address that the applicant's position is that we believe the existing code violations are pertaining to an impermissible use, open storage, on a residential zoned parcel. This zoning ordinance, if it were to be adopted, will abate those specific code violations. In the event that the staff does continue to want to have a condition requiring a timeline for either the LDO application or the DO application, we do request a 90-day rather than the staff's 30-day. So moving forward, I would like to introduce our expert witness, with Mr. Vince Caturo, planning. He has previously been deemed an expert as a certified planner here before, and I proffer him as an expert witness here today.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. Without further ado, I will turn it over to Mr. Caturo.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. The arrow.
Well, she just tried it and it was working.
Oh, that's working.
We need Maria to come with this.
All right, I guess.
She had just come out too and it was working. Let's see.
With the clicker? You saw it, it worked, right?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
You jinxed us. That's funny, because I tested it out.
That is true. I can be an eyewitness to that.
Use the last.
The batteries are working. Did you maybe hit that little thingy? Let me see. So the thumb drive thing is not in. Oh, that's nice.
Cam's not touching it. Doesn't want to be responsible.
Let me see if my other, I think I have a bag up.
If not, is there a way to advance from here? I know it's not ideal.
No, no, that's fine.
Give me the look.
Thank you.
Okay.
Some kind of signal.
If you don't mind. Okay, we'll do that.
It's not ideal, but if there's no other way.
Let me change the battery too.
All right, we'll do that for now. Okay, good morning again. Oh, here we go. Oh, you did that one. Vince Cotero for the record, Vice President of Planning for Baracco and Associates, representing the applicant Menwald Make Masonry. As you know, this is an application for a rezone to commercial plan development. For the record, the physical address is 94 4th Street, Fort Myers, Florida, in the Page Park Community Planning Area. And the project team is Strayhorn and Persons Mullica PL and Baracco and Associates. Next slide. The surrounding land uses, as you can see from the various maps and graphics that are included in the application, are multifamily residential, which is located on 3 sides of the property, south, north, and northwest. Industrial uses are spread out mostly on the east, and there's a high school which is classified as an institutional use
I'm sorry.
on the west side. Got it?
It was a battery.
Oh, thank you.
It must have gone.
Thank
out.
you.
Okay.
Thank you, Maria.
All right, there we go. Thanks, Cameron. The aerial location map shows the uses of the property and the location of the property. The building, as I'll talk about in a moment, was formerly a single-family home that was constructed in the late 1950s, according to property appraisers' records. The location on South Street is shown in this aerial from a different scale, which shows the surrounding land uses for approximately 1.5 blocks, maybe 2 blocks east-west, and north and south, maybe a block. And you can clearly see the institutional use to the west and the southwest, where you can see athletic fields and buildings and parking areas. The acreage of the property is 0.66 according to the survey that was prepared. We talked about the former use of the property was a single-family home surrounded by a mix of uses at the current time. The request formally is to rezone the property from the 2-family conservation district to the commercial planned development zoning district, which would allow an office for masonry contractors with outdoor storage of commercial equipment. The uses that we have prepared in the schedule of uses, we believe, are consistent with the 2 sections which govern this use in accordance with this zone change. And for the record, they're 34-662 sub C, sub 9, and 34-934, which are the construction and building uses group 2 and planned development districts. We would like to highlight, Madam Hearing Examiner, that the storage of equipment would only be for the use by the applicant. And for the record, we'd like to state that section 34-931 sub E sub 2 of the Lee County Land Development Code does state the intent of the chapter is that the principal uses of any commercial plan development are generally the retail sale and distribution of goods and services, including various uses, or for the administration of business for general business purposes, and we believe the application is consistent with that section. And finally, for the record, we are restating that the request is consistent with 34-145 sub D 1B, where the hearing examiner serves in an advisory capacity on new plan development requests to the Lee County Board of County Commissioners. A community meeting was scheduled for June 3rd of last year at Timmy's Recovery Zone in Fort Myers on Center Road. Unfortunately, no citizens attended the meeting, but we did leave contact information at the location for citizens who wish to follow up. But we left that with staff, as well as a note on the door for that. But no one followed up immediately. Surrounding future land uses are a mix, as you can see in the purple areas, as I mentioned earlier. To the east are industrial uses, and there are a mix of 2-family residential zoning and multifamily residential zoning, and then the institutional uses across the street. There is some commercial zoning on 4th Street, immediately across the street from our client's property. In addition, there's a property zone C1A immediately to the north. The surrounding zoning is shown here, which is consistent with the land uses, industrial and TFC2 and commercial, as well as community facility to the west and southwest for Evangelical Christian High School. The master concept plan shows the various intended uses. I'll just highlight those very briefly. We show the office building, which would be where the existing single-family home was. The existing driveway here, which is really a storage area and a parking lot, so there's a need for a secondary driveway in order for service vehicles and customers to visit, and the required parking is placed in 2 areas, behind the building and also to the south of the building, in order to meet the requirement, which would be 3 spaces, including the handicap spot. I'll talk about this a little bit later, but given the fact that 2 driveways are needed, we are asking for a deviation, and the staff has viewed that favorably for the minimum separation distance between the 2 access points. The driveway also, which I'm calling it a driveway, but it's really an area where you have an existing carport and a parking lot, which is adjacent to the building, and there's a handicap ramp also that was constructed there. Cannot be used as a pass-through because there's a septic field, a drain field in this area, and a septic tank right behind the building, as you can see depicted behind the building. So we've worked hard with staff's diligence and advice on how we might situate this transportation route, if you will, around the building, and also assure that we've met the buffering and screening standards allowed by or required by the Land Development Code. Fencing is also in the front for security purposes. When I say front, I mean of the storage area. It's in the back of the building, so I apologize, I want to clarify that. And fencing in the back, but you'll notice that there is a slice of land there that is in the easement area. We do have an approval from the Lee County Department of Transportation in order to construct that, but the owner is aware that it would be at their expense if the fence needed to be moved for any reason. Based on what the Land Development Code states, and taking into account the land uses and zoning, I should say zoning more specifically, the buffering requirements are along 4th Street. Nothing officially on the east, north, and east sides, but the applicant is proposing a masonry wall in the area that is essentially surrounding the storage area, and on the south side as well. We'll talk about that a little bit later during the, or Ms. Strayhorn will address that a little bit later within the context of the condition that we would like to see some rewording.
So is that, just to, not to interrupt, but so the masonry wall, that, I understand there's no buffers required
Right.
because you're taking advantage of the mixed-use overlay provisions, but
Yes.
the wall, I assumed, was because you're required to screen the outdoor storage under 34.3, whatever it is, 005.
Exactly.
Okay.
So under that provision, as you correctly stated, Madam Hearing Examiner, and the mixed-use overlay. So with all of these taken together and all of the criteria in the code, we believe that we do meet the buffering and screening requirements. The type.
Wall, though, is that extending, because you mentioned the fence or the wall, so is the wall extending all the way through the IDD canal, or is that stopping?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, it would be, yes, to the extent that it can be constructed. There's a slope down, and there's an area where it would It may not be exactly to the length of the property right to the canal, but it would be well out of view from surrounding uses on the property if and when this property is constructed. My understanding, it's still vacant, the property in the back, to the northeast of you.
The
Okay,
industrial property to the east, is that what we're talking about?
right here to the northeast.
The northeast.
To the east, you have the canal, and there's industrial property here. There's sloping, and it's not even terrain, so it would be to the extent that it can be constructed there. That'll be worked out during the full site plan development stage. Buffering to the west and landscaping would be consistent with the Land Development Code, which is a Type A buffer, including plantings. We believe that the use is consistent with the character of the area, and we believe we have staff's concurrence on that based on the staff report. In addition, we believe design elements will ensure the use is consistent with the characteristics of the area. I just talked a little bit about the buffering, and for the record, it would be consistent with section 10-425 sub F of the Land Development Code. We have highlighted some of the policies that we've listed in the staff report that I just wanted to state for the record briefly. Cam has done a wonderful job in the staff report of outlining these and more. We believe it's consistent with the uses that are allowed in the central urban category. The development location assures compact growth, which is what objective 2.1 strives for. Water, sewer, and environmental standards would be met. The mixed-use overlay, it accomplishes planning on a small piece of property with adequate screening. Goal 31 of the Page Park Community Plan, seeking a vibrant mixed-use community. Objective 31.1, physical appearance. We believe that features added to the property, which did not exist previously, would enhance the physical appearance and blend with the neighborhood. Utilities will be served by Lee County Utilities for potable water, and the site is served by a permitted and functioning septic tank currently as well. And you can see the letter of service availability was included in the packet and is shown here for the record. Surface water management plan was reviewed, and we believe is consistent with the Land Development Code. Runoff will be directed via sheet flow and closed conveyance to the outfall structure. It is the intent to preserve natural features and maintain the patterns, and post-development water table elevations are estimated to be at elevation 8 to 9 NAVD 88 based on Water Management District permitting. Properties located in flood zone X as shown on the flood insurance rate map dated November 17th, 2022. Traffic impact statement was prepared and is in the report. The statement analysis yielded minimal impacts during peak hour AM and PM and weekday trips, and we do not anticipate adverse impacts to the existing access point or level of service. And I will say also for the record that our transportation engineers use the most recent online software package available through the Institute of Transportation Engineers, which shows data points on comparable applications, and that package is called OTIS, OTISS. It stands for Online Traffic Impact Statement Studies. So I just wanted to state that for the record. Deviations, section 1259A requires open space, but states that it must be available to the public. We do not believe that would be possible in this case due to the fact that it is a commercial use with a heavier use in the storage area, and there's safety concerns, and it really doesn't lend itself to a shopping center, for example, where you may have a walking trail or a dog park, or even some heavier recreational areas. So we're asking for a deviation from that. The staff did state in there that the open space requirement would have to be met, and I believe it's 0.32 acres and I may be off on that. Or 32%, which is 0.21, that would be met. Connection separation, I'm gonna go back to the site plan here, the concept plan, would not be met, and we are asking for a deviation in that regard. But we are in agreement with the staff recommendations on what conditions they've imposed on the deviations. In conclusion, Madam Hearing Examiner, we find the petition DCI 2024-00024 consistent with the Lee Plan and the Lee County Land Development Code, and we are available to answer any of your questions.
You mentioned at the beginning, or well, about midway through, I guess, that there would be an opportunity for customers to visit the site, but my understanding was the use was really primarily for office space and then the ancillary storage. So is there an anticipation that you'll have public or customers coming
Yeah,
into the site?
yes, there's parking available in accordance with the Land Development Code. They may have meetings with customers or they may have deliveries from various companies, and they may have meetings with clients or potential clients. But it is not your typical commercial enterprise where customers are going to come and go like in a showroom. This would be, it's an office, so.
And the site visit, when I conducted that, they're doing all the construction just west of you. I believe that's where, my understanding is ECS is going to be moving their primary entrance and kind of drop-off point. Was that looked at in your evaluation? Because
It was, and if I may go back, we did look at that very closely in follow-up meetings with the staff, and have assured that our, what are the words I'm looking for here?
South driveway.
Yeah, the driveway connections and spacing and placement are consistent with one another. So our engineers did evaluate their concept plan or site plan in the DO process, and we were made aware of that, and we appreciated the staff informing us of that.
okay. Policy 6.1.8, I believe, I didn't see in any of the materials. It speaks to not jeopardizing schools if there's a school in proximity. So there's opportunity today if you want to put testimony about that on the record, or I can leave the record open just to supplement it. I think it sounds like from what you've just said that was considered, but I just didn't see it in the written record anywhere, and given the proximity, it is relevant in this case. I don't anticipate a concern. I just need to have the record supplemented.
I can certainly put that on the record, but would you prefer a quick memorandum after the hearing?
It would be preferable.
Okay, we'll do that today.
Okay, thank you. I think that was the extent of my questions for you. You answered the ones about the screening. The open space, you did mention, there was a recommendation from the environmental staff that they include the open space requirement because you are slightly exceeding it, but I didn't see that in there. Is there an objection if that's put into the conditions to hold to what it shows on the master concept plan?
My understanding was that what we showed on the concept plan was acceptable.
Yes, it is. It's typically, it's in attachment F, if you can review it. I believe that was the environmental note. It's typically, you've got to meet it, so if you're going beyond that, then they'll just ask that you meet it consistent with the master concept plan.
Okay. Oh, right.
That was not in the conditions, and so I just wanted to see if there was an objection.
That's right. I read that over last night in my final check, that it was not listed in the condition. We wouldn't have an objection if that's added, so.
Okay, thank you. And my question, we can talk about it later for the code violations, but just to clarify, the code violations are for the use and not for doing work without a DO, is that correct?
Correct. So there are two existing code violations for, and I'm paraphrasing, but having open storage on a TFC2 parcel.
Okay. For two different types of storage vehicles, is that why there's two code?
I believe so.
Okay, but those have not come to hearing yet, so there hasn't been an order finding violation issued
Correct.
on either.
Correct.
So the DO condition, I'm guessing, came about because that would be an implementation of the use, but your position is that once this zoning goes through, you've satisfied the use provisions of that, the DO work would be a separate violation?
Correct.
If one were to be opened? Okay.
Yes,
Thank you. I
exactly.
just wanted to clarify.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I'm ready for staff whenever you're ready. Thank you. Yes, thank you. So That presentation will be Staff Exhibit 3. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Khalil Muhammad. I am a planner with the zoning section of Lee County Community Development. And the case we are hearing today is DCI 2024-00024, 94 4th Street CPD rezoning. As stated previously, the applicant Baracco and Associates has requested a rezoning of approximately 0.66 acres from the two-family conservation district to rezone to the commercial plan development CPD zoning district to allow an existing home to be used as an office and storage site for a masonry contractor. Property's strap number and physical address are listed on the slide. The property is located in the Central Urban Future Land Use category as well as the Page Park Community Planning area and is currently zoned in its original zoning designation TFC2 or Two Family Conservation. The parcel's history, the property currently exists within the TFC2 zoning district and is located at 94 4th Street and has not undergone any previous zoning. As mentioned before, there are current open code enforcement violations, and this proposed rezoning would address those violations as active and provide for abatement for those. The future land use and zoning district of the property, future land use is currently Central Urban and the zoning district currently is TFC2. Our surrounding properties to the north, we've got TFC2 as well as commercial C1A. To the south, TFC2, two-family conservation. To the east, light industrial, and to the west, community facilities. This rezoning request has been reviewed based on the criteria held in LDC section 34145 D4A1 zoning matters, as well as LDC section 34145 D4A2 planned development rezoning. The Lee plan states that policy 1.1.3, Central Urban Future Land Use category can be best categorized as the urban core of the county. These areas are the most heavily settled and have or will have the greatest range of highest levels of public service. Lee plan growth management, objective 2.1. The site's location within the Page Park Community Plan area and mixed-use overlay supports the policy's intent or the objective's intent. The location of the property makes it suitable for commercial uses, and the request does not bypass tracts of land to support development by virtue of other existing abutting commercially zoned parcels, as well as other variety of zoning districts within the Page Park Community Plan area, as the proposed rezone will be the redevelopment of the existing single-family residence. Objective 2.2, the proposed rezoning will promote growth in the future urban area where adequate public facilities exist and compact and contiguous development patterns can be created. The property will be served by Lee County Utilities water franchise area for potable water. Sanitary sewer is also available from Lee County Utilities, but the site will be served with an existing septic tank. The proposed rezone is compliant with policy 2.2.1, having frontage on 4th Street, which is a county-maintained local road and would allow for the connectivity to the larger roadway network of the county. The The site does have service available provided for fire protection as well as emergency response, and those will be provided by South Trail Fire Station number 61, which is approximately 1.6 miles away from the subject property. Police protection will also be provided by Lee County Sheriff's with a station located approximately 5.1 miles from the subject property. Public transit provides access to the subject property along Lee Tran Route 80, servicing Center Road, with a bus shelter located approximately approximately 0.21 miles northwest of the subject property. By virtue of the property's location along a county-maintained local roadway, the county's development patterns and availability of potential level of public services, this area would then be suited to accommodate the request. Lee Plan Water and Sewer Standards 4.1.1 as well as 4.1.2. As mentioned, there has been provided a letter of availability stating that Lee County Utilities has the capacity to serve the property and the use for potable water as well as sanitary sewer, although sanitary sewer will then be provided with the existing septic system on the property. Residential land uses, being that the property is located within a residential neighborhood and was previously zoned as a residential zoning district, I felt it necessary to mention these. Objective 5.1, all development approvals for residential, commercial, and industrial land uses must be consistent with the following policies held within Goal 5 and the general standards under Goal 4 requiring sewer as well as water availability. I find that the request has adhered and complies with Objective 5.1. Policy 5.1.5 protects the existing and future residential areas from any encroachment of uses that are potentially destructive to the character and integrity of the residential environment. Being that this is a redevelopment of an existing single-family home within the larger Page Park community, I find that this request does comply with Policy 5.1.5. Commercial land uses. Policy 6.1.1 requires that all applications for commercial development be reviewed and evaluated as to their traffic and access impacts, landscaping and detailed site planning, screening and buffering, availability and adequacy of services and facilities, impact on adjacent land uses and surrounding neighborhoods, their proximity to other similar centers, as well as environmental considerations. I've detailed specific adherence to those following criteria within the staff report. Also, I have found that this request does comply with Policy 6.1.1. Policy 6.1.3, the proposed development will avoid negative impacts by providing screening and separation from surrounding uses through site design. The use will be condensed on the property and avoid negative impacts that could arise from development like strip commercial development. Continuing our commercial land uses policies, Policy 6.1.4, commercial development will be approved only when compatible with adjacent existing and proposed land uses and within existing and programmed public services and facilities. The proposed use complements the central urban future land use category's goal of residential, commercial, public, and quasi-public uses and limited industrial land uses. Policy 6.1.5, the subject property is in an area where capacity exists on the adjacent roadway network of the county-maintained local road 4th Street and is consistent with Policy 6.1.5. The rezoning from TFC2 to CPD does not create an unanticipated traffic circulation due to the proposed use being anticipated to have relatively low traffic impacts. Commercial land use is continued. Policy 6.1.6, and this request is in accordance with Policy 6.1.6, as the proposed development will provide adequate landscaping and buffering as required by the Land Development Code. Policy 6.1.7, the proposed redevelopment will not open the immediate area to scattered or premature development, as this request is the redevelopment of an existing use. The Lee Plan mixed use as well as mixed use overlay. The property is located in the mixed use overlay identified by Lee Plan Map 1C. The subject property abuts the county-maintained local road 4th Street to the west and is in the mixed-use overlay per the Lee Plan. The applicant has provided a letter of availability from Lee County Utilities stating that they do have the capacity to support the commercial development's need for potable water. Objective 11.1, the site is proposed to be developed with an office as well as a storage area to support the intended commercial use as contractor builder group 2 as classified within the Page Park community planning area. Subject property is located amidst a variety of uses, including residential, commercial, and industrial. Objective 11.2, the subject request proposes redevelopment of an existing residence within the mixed-use overlay that is located in Page Park Community Plan area along the local county-maintained road, 4th Street, which provides connection to the larger roadway network of the county, and the property is also serviced by Lee County Transit Route 80 via Center Road, having a bus shelter within a quarter mile. Policy 11.2.5, the approval of the proposed commercial plan development rezoning will allow the applicant's intended use of the site as a masonry contractor office with ancillary storage, contributing to the overall diversity of the area and its various uses. Page Park Community Plan area, Goal 31 states that the Page Park Community Plan area has an intent to revitalize the village-like residential neighborhood into a vibrant mixed-use community that captures the heritage of the Page Park Community Plan area by providing infrastructure, pedestrian and bicycle connections, as well as business opportunities together with consistent signage, landscaping, and enhanced development standards. The subject property contributes to the community plan area as it coincides with the intent of the area, as this rezoning would allow for the redevelopment of an existing single-family home into a commercial business within the residential neighborhood. Objective 31.1, the proposed development will result in the redevelopment of a residential property and is in compliance with current code requirements, which will enhance the physical appearance of the site. Policy 31.1.1, deviations from landscaping, buffering, signage, or architectural requirements may not be granted unless the request meets the approval criteria for variance set forth in LDC Chapter 34, Section 145. Those variance criteria have also been discussed at length within the staff report. The applicant states that the landscaping and buffering requirements are being met through the reductions afforded by the mixed-use overlay, as well as the requested deviations for public open space, as the applicant stated, to provide public open space in conjunction with this use wouldn't be within the best interest of the health, safety, welfare of the surrounding community. Objective 31.2, the applicant is demonstrating compliance with all landscaping, architecture, lighting, and signage requirements. The applicant has requested deviation from the public open space requirement, as noted in the staff report. Policy 31.2.1, new standalone commercial activity and uses will be limited to a specific area within the Page Park Community Overlay. This subject property is located within the commercial mixed-use area as depicted on Lee Plan Map 1C, making the proposed rezoning compatible with this policy as a new standalone commercial development. Policy 31.5.1, the proposed development will not be producing an intensity high enough to require connection to a central sewer system, as the development will not generate the level of commercial sewage outlined in Standard 4.1.2, which pertains to the consumption of more than 5,000 gallons of sewage per day. Lee Plan water quality. The design, construction, and maintenance of artificial drainage systems must provide for retention or detention areas and vegetated swale systems that minimize nutrient loading and pollution of freshwater and estuarine systems. The applicant has stated the outfall from this system into Whiskey Creek will be regulated by a control structure. This control structure will provide water quality and attenuation. Buffers and open space. All buffers are to comply with LDC section 10425. To the north, abutting TFC2 and C1A, there are no buffers required. To the west, abutting a right-of-way, 4th Street, a 5-foot wide buffer planted with 5 trees per 100 linear feet. To the east, abutting the light industrial use, buffers are not required. South, TFC2, there are no buffers required, and the open space for this parcel would be required to be 10% as noted in LDC section 10425. The available public utilities, potable water as well as sanitary sewer are provided by Lee County Utilities. However, the site will be serviced via an existing septic system in regards to its sewer needs. The emergency services, South Trail Fire Station number 61 and Medic number 1 located at 2100 Crystal Drive, approximately 1.6 miles from the subject property, will provide fire and EMS services. Police protection will be provided by Lee County Sheriff Department Station located at 14750 6 Mile Cypress Parkway, approximately 5.1 miles away from the subject property. Public transit, Lee Tran bus stops are within a quarter mile, and the route that's serviced is Route 80. Transportation, the proposed use will not negatively impact the surrounding roadway system. Conditions, there are conditions specific to specific aspects of the submittal documents as well as other aspects of the request. The master concept plan, development of the project must be consistent with the master concept plan. Schedule of uses, development of this project must be consistent with the schedule of uses to include uses such as contractor builder as well as office and open storage. Property development regulations, the development of this project must be consistent with the development regulations as proposed by the applicant. And our final condition, abatement of all code enforcement violations. As the applicant has mentioned, there is some discussion to be had regarding the condition for the abatement of the existing code enforcement violations. So based on staff's review of those existing code enforcement violations, this proposed rezoning would address any of the active and or pending hearing violations that are currently on the property. However, the rezoning does not address any of the site improvements that were made, as TFC2 parcels aren't required for a development order for any of the site improvements. So staff is recommending that those improvements be noted on a development order, and the development order must receive a certificate of compliance before any work is continued or the use is actually enacted.
So is there a third violation that's not identified, or there's one that's potentially coming? That was my question.
If we were to not close the loop on those improvements, then a violation could then be presented for those site improvements, being that they didn't require a development order.
Correct, because the two that are included, as I asked earlier, they're both use related. So
Yes.
the contention that this resolves it, that would abate these violations.
Yes.
So they're gonna, and it sounds like a new violation would be forthcoming if it's not opened already for the unpermitted work requiring the DO. That would be a separate violation that this would address. So my hesitation in including it here is that it's not relevant to the two that are cited.
Okay.
So it may well be that it's required, but that would be a separate violation. And then the revenue or the remedy then for the county to enforce that is through that code violation, that action.
Okay.
if we include it here, my concern is then we're just creating another code violation, because if we're saying you've got to get this within whatever time period, I understand the spirit of it and why it's included, but because there isn't one listed that actually speaks to the unpermitted work, it's a bridge that we've got to pass to get there. Even if we do that, let's say that they don't submit it within 30 days or 90 days, whichever, if they don't do it on day 91, now we just open another code violation saying now you're in non-compliance with your zoning approval because you didn't comply with that condition and you need the unpermitted work. So I understand the spirit of it. I just wanted to kind of get to the heart of what we were trying to address with it, because it seems like staff is agreeing that this action would, if it's approved through the board, abate the 2 noted code violations.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so there may be, but there is not an open case at this point for the DO work.
Exactly that.
Okay, but it has been discussed. It sounds like the applicant is aware that a DO is going to be required?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
Madam Hearing Examiner. We understand that there's going to be an LDO or a DO required to both memorialize the site improvements that have been made, as well as effectuating the final dry detention fence and wall
Okay.
items.
Okay, and it was just a disagreement among the timing that was going to be required to do that?
Correct. The applicant does believe that we would request condition 3 be removed for the reasons you had stated. In the event that, in my understanding is staff is recommending to have something included in the staff report to close that loop and to basically include something to memorialize the already done site improvements. So if there is a condition 3 included, we would request longer than 30 days. But we believe that 90 days from the zoning resolution approval would be sufficient.
Okay, understanding that if it's not done within whatever period, they can open a code violation tomorrow if they want, and then that would just be done through that process of how much time you're going to be given to abate that violation.
Correct. Again, our position would be we don't include any of the conditions.
Correct.
And the property owner has been chomping at the bit to be able to get this converted and moving as quickly as possible. So our only concern would be those last minute items that you can't really foresee. So there is a concern of that. I think that you stated correctly, Madam Hearing Examiner. But so our position is, in the event that you believe that there needs to be a time frame, we do request longer than the 30 days.
Okay, thank you.
But we would request for there not to be that condition.
And it sounds like the parties are in agreement. Everyone understands there was unpermitted work done. It sounds like there may be a code violation opened, a new violation separate from these 2 once these are closed, if they are closed, for abating them. That might be done for the unpermitted work, and then that will go through that process separate and distinct from the zoning. I think generally if we include those conditions, it's generally done to put everyone on notice that that's going to happen, but it sounds like those conversations have already been occurring. Okay, thank you. That helps me understand that. And I believe that was the only point of disagreement.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And for the record, staff has no objection to the 90-day request. The applicant has requested 2 deviations, one to public open space as well as connection separation. Staff recommends approval for the deviation request of public open space, given adherence with the following condition. Prior to the issuance of a development order, the MCP shall depict at least 32% point, or which would then translate to 0.21 acres of open space as illustrated. Connection separation, staff that recommends approval as well, given adherence to the following condition. Prior to local development order approval, plans must demonstrate that sufficient space is provided to facilitate internal turning movements to ensure the 2 parking spaces provided at the north driveway and the 1 parking space provided at the south driveway may exit the subject property onto 4th Street in a forward motion. The requested rezoning from 2-family conservation district, TFC2, to commercial plan development, CPD, is consistent with the Lee Plan and Land Development Code. The proposed rezoning provides consistency with allowable commercial development within the central urban future land use category. Staff has concluded that the rezoning will not result in negative impacts to urban services, infrastructure, or surrounding property. The subject property is sufficiently served by fire, police, and emergency services personnel, as well as access to public transit routes and urban services. The request will not adversely affect environmentally critical or sensitive areas and natural resources. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the applicant's request.
Thank you. I believe I asked all of the questions as I went through. I would like to leave the record open for some period of time just to supplement with the 6.1.8. How much time do you think you would need to do that?
For addressing 6.1.8, I can do that today.
Okay, then I'll leave it open until end of business tomorrow. Were there any other comments that anybody wanted to make onto the record?
None from applicant.
Okay, thank you, thank you. It was a very thorough presentation, a very thorough staff report, so I do appreciate that. So once I receive that, then I can begin work on this case, and I don't expect it will take too long to get this one back out. Thank you, everybody. I do appreciate the detail that everyone provided. It was a very excellent staff report. Thank you for coming, everyone, today. Please stay healthy and stay well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.